of a shot of winning. We can beat anybody in the world, and I think we're going to win next Sunday.
And welcome back to the New York Jets Atlantic Flight Podcast. And we've got a 50-50 today. What's a 50-50? Well, 50% in the UK and 50% in the USA. It's just the two of us chickens here today. It's just me and Daniel. Post 2025 draft. I think it's fair to say, what is a draft of two halves, Daniel? Do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And before I even go on about what we were going to talk about, just to let you know, Gus, so that's chicken.
Right. Let's just us chickens
Listen,
here.
absolutely. I have to tell you, I thought the first three picks were spot on. I thought they just did an awesome job selecting the right players for their first ever draft. Now, some are saying these are safe picks. You know what? I don't care if they're safe. I don't care if they're dangerous. I don't even care if they stink. The first three picks are who I wanted. Now, maybe I'll admit, maybe I was shocked with the tight end, but you know what? If he's that good, then I don't have a problem with it, because apparently everyone else liked the pick as well. And I know we're going to go, pick for pick right now, but the back end of the draft, while there were some good moments, there were some head scratchers. So, we'll talk about it right now, but still though, like I said, and I'll agree with you, tale of two halves. Great start, questionable finish.
Absolutely, 100%. I feel kind of the same way. I think it's as you've just said, it was a great start, and we're going to get into this because otherwise we're just going to go round in a circle. So this guy has been projected to us for months and months and months, and we've discussed it on this podcast time and time again, and it didn't matter which way you diced it up until his draft stock went up, and he was getting mocked to the Patriots for some reason. It never made any sense to me because the Patriots needed a left tackle, and they got their left tackle in Will Campbell, and our guy Armand Bamboo is now officially a Jet, 6'4", 332 pounds, out of Missouri, or Mizzou as we call it, junior. He is the top rated right tackle. We got the top rated right tackle, and we've now got an O-line that looks pretty damn scary. We haven't had an O-line like this as we've had DeBrickashaw and Mangold, have we? What do you think? Yeah. This O-line, I think I could throw a pass behind this O-line.
Absolutely. I love it. I absolutely love it, Gus, and I'll tell you why. As I have said many, many times to my friends, past podcasts on the Jets before joining you over there at the Atlantic Flight Pod, we need a brick wall in front of our quarterback. We need to make sure our quarterbacks, regardless who it is, whether it be Fields, Travis, Jordan, or, even, it could be the new kid on the block. I don't care who it is. We needed to have a solid wall in front of our quarterback and not allow him to get planted into the ground, whether by dirt or field turf, to stop us from scoring points or at least advancing the ball. And I'm telling you right now, this selection makes me happy. It makes me thrilled. Let me also say this. While I understand that there was a certain player from a different position who I thought, I could live without, a dominant right tackle, and you can use him for blocking, pass catching, defending, everything and anything under the sun. I thought we were going to get him too, but you know what? I'm happy that Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji stuck to their game plan. They could have gone for the splash. No, we're not going to mess around here. We're going to go for the sure thing, and we're getting Armand Membo, and they did, and I am happy. I am excited. I am thrilled. We now have bookend tackles that will be with this team for at least over 10 years or more. At least 10 years or more. And the best thing about it, Gus, is that not only do you have 3 players on this offensive line that came from the first round in these last several drafts, and Joe Tippmann, the center, who came in last year, 2 years ago as a second.
Oh, Daniel's just dropped off there.
Our right guard.
Sorry, you just dropped off there, Daniel, for the last 2-3 seconds.
Sorry about that. Hold on.
That's probably me.
Oh, okay. But anyway, as I'm saying, I'm too excited, Gus. I'm too excited.
Rightly so. Rightly so.
I'm very, very excited. Did I tell you how excited I am? Did I ever tell you how thrilled I am?
You didn't, but I think you're going to.
Yep. We have a solid wall in front of our quarterback. And I am just happy. I'm happy it's been taken care of. I'm happy for what we have received. And, once again, as I was trying to say, as I can get John Simpson, who we got as a free agent from the Baltimore Ravens, we have ourselves a damn good offensive line. Now, somewhere down the road, not saying it's going to happen next draft or in 2 years, but one day you're going to have to replace John Simpson at right guard. Whoever that is, we'll find out somewhere down the road. But for now,
left guard.
I apologize, left guard. But for now, I am excited and I am thrilled that our offensive line is complete.
Do you know what's nice as well? I absolutely agree with everything you've said. We've got bookend tackles, we've got bookend guards, and we've got an outstanding young centre in Tippmann. We also signed Myers from Green Bay as free agent. I still don't understand why they ended up letting him go, because he would have been their most productive centre. I don't know, but and the thing with Myers is he can play centre and both left guard and right guard. So you've got a swing guard there and someone that can back up. We've also got Xavier Newman-Johnson, who, I don't know if you remember, was it last year? Was it the year before? I think it was the year before. We lost 3 centres in one game. I think we were playing the Giants, and literally Xavier Newman-Johnson had been in street clothes the week before. He'd never played centre, and he was asked to play centre. And to be fair, there was a couple of botched snaps, but the rest of them were pretty good. And I'm absolutely thrilled. He is someone in my eyes, and I think the coaching staff's eyes as well, is on the ascendancy. So not only a point going on here, not only have we got a tremendous starting unit on the offensive line, the backups are starting to look good now. So there's competition within the backups. And this is what the likes of Philadelphia and Kansas City do. They overdraft in that position. And on that, I think we should have taken an interior lineman as well. We didn't, but we'll address this later on. I'm reminded of how casual some of our fans are, and I don't mean to pick on anybody here, but I had a conversation with somebody this week who was not thrilled, very, very unhappy that we'd taken Armand Membu, 7 overall. Very unhappy. And I said, why are you unhappy? He said, because it reminds me of reminds me of Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton? Are you kidding me? So no, I tried to explain. It was I have to say, it was on deaf ears. So anyway, for that person, if you're listening to this, the actual comparisons are, one of these is so funny. One of the comparisons is Elijah Vera Tucker. Brilliant. The next one is Dylan Parham. And the other one, this one makes me laugh because I am absolutely certain that Joe Douglas wanted Broderick Jones. And if you remember what happened, Pittsburgh Steelers leapfrogged the Jets, trade with the Patriots, and the Steelers took Broderick Jones. Now, I'm not saying Broderick Jones was an absolute steal, because I think he's been pretty hit and miss. And we ended up with Will McDonald, who apparently was the pick all along. Cue Joe Douglas's face looking like a smacked bottom. So anyway, this guy who's meant to be like Mekhi Becton, he has 18% body fat, and that's at 320 pounds. I've got more body fat than that, and I don't weigh near that. which is why he absolutely killed it at the combine with a 32-inch vertical, 600-pound squat. I mean, the guy is ripped. And the thing I really, the thing I like about this the most is it kind of dovetails into what we think. Well, what we think we actually know now, because Muji and Glenn have both come out and said it multiple times. It's going to be a very run heavy offense. And his strength, run blocking. He is a grader. He's a nasty grader. He likes to get out and get his hands on anyone that gets in his way. Great hands, and he can plant an anchor. He can bull rush defenders. He's a great pick. I am so excited that he's a Jet. Very excited. Not too many weaknesses in his game though. So obviously his pass pro is going to need bringing on, because I don't think that is his forte. But overall, I don't think we're going to be passing that much. So he'll get the time to develop that side of his game anyway. But we've got, I can never remember how you say his name. It's Okorafor as a backup right tackle. So Okorafor, we know he came from the Patriots last year. Yeah. He played something like 8 snaps or whatever it was, and they benched him. Disagreement or something going on there, whatever it was. But prior to that, he'd been a starter. I think it was for Pittsburgh. So he has the potential, if he has indeed got character. Sorry?
Right. No, I was going to say that, it was Okorafor. You got it correctly.
Okorafor. That's the first.
Okorafor. Yeah, no.
That's the first time I got it right. But, the guy's obviously, he's got talent. He was a starting right tackle. So now he's being demoted to right tackle. So there's going to be that competition between the likes of Max Mitchell and Carter Warren for that right tackle spot. So this is great. We've now got competition in the depth, which is absolutely. When was the last time that happened? Only thing
Long
is,
time ago.
Yeah. So now all that remains is everyone stays healthy. Easy said and done.
Yep.
So
exactly.
That was.
And here's the other thing too, if you have to think about it, is that when have you seen or felt? And I mean, still, if you talk to anybody, in a draft party, depending on whose team you support, or if you have fellow fans of the same team, you talk together. There are some that are, thinking, why did they go this route? Why are they going this route? They shouldn't have gone for Membo. They should have gone a different way, or they should have gotten a different tackle. I don't understand why you do this or why you do that. Well, it's simple, because they felt that this guy, look, this kid in college, I'm not saying it's going to happen in the NFL. If it does, it's brilliant. He did not give up a single sack, nor did he give up a single quarterback hit.
That's correct.
In college. And if you're getting a right tackle that is that damn good, and if he can transfer that from the college game to the NFL level, then what are we complaining about?
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing here?
There's no downside to Armand Membu officially that we know of. As I say, he was part of a good unit at Missouri that did establish a good running ground game. So he's used to that kind of game. So he's going from one. He's just stepping up a different level. So kind of the same thing. But I'm absolutely over the moon we got Membu. As I say, he seemed to come out of nowhere when we started doing mock drafts at the beginning of the year. I don't think Membu was on anybody's radars, and then slowly he kind of heard his name getting bandied about, and eventually he went to the combine, and that was it. Bam! He was one of the hottest things at the combine. He had that he absolutely knocked it out of the park. I think Ryan brought it up. He was like one of the top 3 percentile workouts that you have in a combine. I can't remember the other one was, but one of them was Tristan Wirfs. So it's in great company there. Obviously, Tristan Wirfs we could have had, but we chose Mickey Becton. But overall, number 7, Armin Membu, you are now a Jet. The second pick, Daniel, have you got anything else to add to that, or we'll move on to the next one?
Well, let's move on to the next pick because I'm excited about this second pick. And even though I wish they would have gotten Tyler Warren, and I talked about a scenario where I thought maybe the Jets could make a trade with one of these other teams in the first round and possibly trading one of their players on the roster, not their superstars, of course, but an up and coming superstar. I thought, give him an opportunity somewhere else, obviously, but they didn't do that. But they, I'm very thrilled with this second pick that the Jets had in the second round. I mean, an amazing selection.
So before we go any further, so the pick that Daniel's on about at pick 42, round 2, Mason Taylor, tight end, LSU, Louisiana State University. Yes, I agree with you. If we were going to go, I wasn't particularly, it wasn't because I didn't want Tyler Warren at 7. I didn't want any tight end at 7 because I just didn't think that the value was there because of how deep the tight end class was. I thought we could get a tight end later on. And as it happens, we did. And I think in this, it's quite subjective how you look at it. Some people said that Tyler Warren was tight end 1. Some people said that Colston Loveland was tight end 1, myself included in the latter. But I think universally, I think most people would agree that Mason Taylor was the next man up. If the name Taylor might dingle dangle a bell, yes, he is the son of Jason Taylor, the legendary Miami Dolphins edge rusher who caused us years and years of grief. So let's hope that Mason Taylor can give the Dolphins years and years of grief. Do you know what? I've got to say this, Daniel. I think that was one of the funniest things I've seen on draft night was what I would imagine the Taylor family to be are hardcore Dolphins fans, I would imagine. And they're all cheering on the Jets and wearing Jets hats on the draft night, which was just, I thought that was a real cool picture. They were in the
It
family
really,
home.
really was. Yep,
That was
yep.
just
It
so
really,
funny.
really was. And let's not forget, though, Gus, Jason Taylor did play for the Jets
He
one
did.
year for one season, and the most big contribution he gave was the tackle inside the end zone when the Jets traveled to play the Pittsburgh Steelers at Heinz Field now, Acrisure Field it's called. Now they're changing, whoever has the most money to pay for a stadium naming rights deal, there it is. But to see to see that happen. And of course, let's not forget that's when the Jets had Mark Sanchez in his second season as the Jets quarterback. I forget the year it was, but I mean that was one of the most memorable moments I remember of that game. Obviously, the kickoff return that started the game when Brad Smith took it all the way to the end zone for a touchdown. That went I think it went over 80, 90 yards. And originally there was a flag on the play, but then the referee picked it up because he wiped it away. He picked up the flag and said, "Nope, there's no foul. Everything's good." Mark Sanchez got the game-winning touchdown with a rollout, faked the handoff, rolled out to his left, and went into the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. But he also, in that game, Jason Taylor, as the Jets were stopped at the just outside of the goal line of the end zone. The next play on the first snap of the next play for of that series for the Steelers, Jason Taylor broke right through the offensive. He broke right through the offensive line, got the running back tackled inside the end zone before he even crossed the goal line to say it's not a 2-point safety, but he got it. Got the 2-point safety, and the Jets won that game by at least, I think, between 6 to 9 points in that game. And that was the first win in the history of the Jets where they faced an NFL team from Pennsylvania, either Philadelphia or Pittsburgh. That was the very first time they've won in the state of Pennsylvania in the regular season. And that was an amazing game. Unfortunately, they had to go back to Pittsburgh to be in the AFC Championship game, but they fell short of that one. I won't go into detail with
Yeah,
that.
that's a
We all
little
know what
bit painful,
happened.
isn't it?
It is, but but look, I mean, once again, this is what happens when you have a certain offensive coordinator who likes to outsmart everybody and he screws himself. So anyway, as I'm saying, that was what Jason Taylor did for the Jets for his one season with the Jets. And funny thing is, watching the Jason, excuse me, the Mason Taylor interview online on YouTube from the Jets website as he was talking to the beat reporters was that, Jason Taylor took his whole family to live in New York City for 1 year. And the Mason Taylor went to school in New York City for 1 year. So you know what?
He's a
You
New
can't beat
Yorker.
that. He- well, no, he's actually a Floridian,
He
but
is.
living in New York for 1 year, he wasn't born there. He was living there for a year, going to school there. So, I mean, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. So at least he knows he's already had a taste of the city a long time ago.
Hmm.
And now he'll be a full-time permanent resident. So I mean, this is going to be a lot of fun, and to see what he's done, over at LSU was just amazing. Obviously, you never think about tight ends doing special things at LSU because, I'm not saying that, the tight end is an ignored position and on the football field, but, in college, there are certain teams that play a certain style that, okay, you're just there for the heck of it. You're just there for fodder. And if you are open, we'll give you the ball. But, what he's done at LSU, setting school
Oh, he
records
did, yeah.
is just
He
unbelievable.
he was the first
And
player. Sorry to interrupt you. I don't know if you're going this way, but he was the first player, first player at his position at tight end to actually eclipse both 100 receptions and 1,000 yards in the program history, which is just phenomenal. He's last
yeah,
year he had 55 catches, 546 yards, 2 touchdowns, setting a new single season record for the Tigers at tight end. So there are other records that he's broken while he's been there. So he is a phenomenal player. Sorry, Daniel.
no, it's fine. Listen, I mean, look, I'm amazed that, I mean, we know how, his body is so, um, I would say maybe strangely thick, you might say, for how he plays the position and everything. And, I mean, look, we had Tyler Conklin on here for the last 2-3 years, and, he's been an amazing tight end. We've had athletic tight ends, for such a long, long time. Mickey Schuler was one back in the day. We can, right now Ruckert is on the team, and obviously at the moment, he hasn't been as what he's been advertised as a pass catching tight end, but I think blocking he's done well. And
Hmm.
it's not, we can still have him here as a blocking tight end. It's not a big deal. But still, though, if he can work on the offensive side of the ball a little bit better, then maybe this coaching staff will make him to what we all would hope he would be. So we'll see what happens. But outside of that, and look, when your father is a former NFL legend, and granted, a Dolphin player, and even though he played for 1 year for this team, I'm not going to sneeze at the fact that, he's got some pedigree that I think we are all happy to see and that we're all happy that can go our way now, finally. And the other thing is this, and I don't know if you get the Fox Sports television shows over there or Fox Sports 1 over there in the UK, but his Auntie Joy, such a Jet hater. I am ready to watch her show this coming Monday and see if she's wearing a Mason Taylor Jet jersey and
That'd
a
be
Jet
cool.
hat. Because guess what, Auntie Joy? You can no longer crap on our team because your nephew is a New York Jet. So deal with it.
So who is Mason Taylor? Let's go through a little bit of his tape. He is 6'5". He is a bit of a load. 6'5". If you're wondering, it's not actually the biggest. You can get tight ends that are going like 6'7", and so 6'5", 6'7" is pretty much the usual for a tight end. He isn't the heaviest. He's 251, which is still pretty heavy. But he is a big, strong dude. He is what we call an inline receiving tight end, which means he'll be part of the offensive line. So he'll be lining up next to the right tackle. I wonder if we've got the right tackle. We've got 2 rookies at right tackle now. He ran a 4.65 in the combine, so that's 80% percentile of all tight ends. So he's well up there. A lot of people had him ranked within the top 5. It's funny because when I was scouting all these tight ends, I got into scouting the combine very, very late this year, and I was playing catch up. Probably spent way too many hours burning the midnight oil doing this. But the one thing that was really, really apparent in nearly all of the tight ends, unless it was something that they specialized in, was nearly all of these top prospects, they were not brilliant blockers. They're adequate blockers, and Mason Taylor, he falls into that category as well. Not the greatest blocker, but he's got great hands. His spatial awareness is excellent. He can change direction. He's brilliant in clutch situations, which is what LSU used him for a lot of the time. And he's great at running stem techniques, which is something else that I think we'll be running as well. He's going to be an excellent outlet for Justin Fields. Nearly forgot his name then. I'm looking forward to seeing him. I'll be honest with you. I was not on the Mason Taylor train. I thought if we weren't going to take Colston Loveland, Tyler Warren wouldn't have been there, and then I would have skipped in at 42 and taken a tight end in the 3rd round. One of Ryan's favourites, someone like Fannin Jr., somebody like that. And then later on in the round, taken a Jackson Hawes who specialises in blocking. But am I happy that we've got Mason Taylor? Absolutely. So far we've got pick 7, or pick number 1st round, big huge tick. 2nd round, big huge tick, and that leads us to our next pick. And our next pick, round 3, and I believe round 3 was pick 73, Isaiah Thomas. I think that's pronounced it. Cornerback, Florida State. So I think it's fair to say that this was quite a head scratcher when this first came up. People were like, "What? We need wide receiver, we need defensive tackle, we need edge at least." I think myself included, my hands up on this one, we're assuming we were going to go in that direction. So when the card was in and his name was called, I think there was many of us that were like, I don't understand this pick. Then, as I said a couple of podcasts back, you then head off into Super Google and start Googling who Isaiah Thomas is, what he does. I mean, obviously you've seen his name when you're doing the mocks and all the rest of it, but you can't, well, not unless you're absolutely insanely dedicated to scouting, which I'm not. I've seen his name, but it's just not something I looked at because I didn't think we were in for cornerback. Well, not at least that earlier on, so never bothered. So then you find myself looking at YouTube clips of him, and you just find out that he's an absolute dog. I'll have a feeling that he was on the radar, but this is how I feel about this. I think that they didn't think he was going to fall. So when he was there, I think it was a situation of this is too good a chance to pass up on. Where's he going to start? Is he going to start opposite Sauce? I think come the beginning of the season, I think he will do. He's got, is it Thomas to beat out? Not Thomas. Stevens. We signed Stevens to a 3-year deal. There was some speculation that he was going to get moved to free safety, because if you remember when we acquired him, they put him in the depth chart at free safety, which caused lots and lots of rumours flying around. So, yeah. But I have a funny feeling that he can easily make the starting cornerback too. 6'2", 197 pounds. As I say, he's out of Florida State as a junior. Ran a 4.58 time, so he is not that quick among corners. He's in the bottom percentile, 19%, so not that quick. But everything about him, he's a tenacious tackler. He faced a lot of good offenses last year. One of his key attributes is coverage and zone, but he can also play man press. And he's one of the top cornerbacks in the country at man press coverage, which I think we're going to be running a lot of. But his comparisons are Kobe Bryant, Cincinnati, and Joey Porter Jr. at Penn State. So Do you know much about this guy, Daniel?
Honestly, no, because I mean, I wasn't even thinking about corner when we're talking about what the Jets needed in this draft. At least the first three picks. Like I told you, I was going for right tackle, tight end, even an interior defensive lineman, maybe even an edge. Not even a right tackle. I'll be honest, I wasn't going for a right tackle at all either. I mean, not right tackle, excuse me. I wasn't going for a tight end at all. I wasn't even thinking about tight end. I was thinking, what are the three major positions I thought the Jets really needed to fix themselves in this draft? And so far in the first two rounds, even though I did go to tight end a little bit when I saw Tyler Warren being available, look, right now, uh, for what we have seen so far with the corner situation, and we all know what Sauce can do. And granted, he went backwards last year. I think he'll admit he had a poor year last year, and we all can see he had a poor year last year. And so all I can say is that if Sauce gets fixed, and then you bring in Azariah Thomas, who, I mean, yeah, I mean, he just came out of nowhere with me. And I've seen the tape of him during the draft, and I'm like, really? He's that? He can be that? And wow. Maybe I'm not as upset about it as some other people are. I think we're going to. I mean, look, Aaron Glenn. You knew he was going to get defensively somewhere in this third round. After getting two offensive players, he had to go defense sooner rather than later. And when they went defense with the Thomas, I mean, look, Aaron Glenn's a former corner himself. If he felt that this was the guy that they needed to get, then this is the guy they went and got. And so I am excited to see, what this kid can do. And hopefully he can become what Sauce has been since he was drafted by the Jets 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I really like as well. I think Sauce is 6'3", and this guy Thomas, he's 6'2". So you've got some serious length there. And one of the things that he is good at is very, very twitchy. He can get downfield and stay man on man with some of these fast, big receivers. And I think that's where we lacked. This isn't a knock on DJ Reed. When DJ Reed was getting picked on, because he was getting picked on because why would you want to go to the same size as Sauce, even though Sauce still had a bad year, as you rightly said? DJ Reed got picked on a lot, and a lot of the time that he did get exposed had nothing to do with his athleticism. It had more to do with his build. And a lot of these quarterbacks now, they're throwing on the outside shoulder and they're throwing up high, and it's very, very difficult. How many times did we say last year that the coverage was absolutely perfect? It's just these quarterbacks are now throwing to that back shoulder between, the outside shoulder and the sideline. And so if they're not catching it, it's going out of bounds, and it's just so difficult to cover. So you're kind of looking at a different breed of corner now. I mean, back in the day when we first started watching, cornerbacks were all built like Aaron Glenn. They were relatively short, sort of like 5'7", 5'8", up to about sort of 5'10". And I remember in the 80s and even into the 90s, always watching these cornerbacks, thinking, why are all these cornerbacks so small when they're going up against the likes of Randy Moss or Calvin Johnson or someone like that? And he's just like, these receivers are just huge, and we've got these smaller guys trying to protect them. And it's like, if a wide receiver jumps a cornerback that high, you've got no chance, even if you've got springs in your feet. But when you look at the makeup of what makes up Thomas, he's got great height, he's got great weight, he's got brilliant hands, he's got good arm length, and you just look at that and you think, I look at that and I just think, if I have this player, I'm going to turn this guy into a bullhawk. But what he has got a few issues that will need tightening up. He has a tendency to misunderstand what a play is and then find himself out of position and therefore can't make a tackle. I've read a scout report as well that said quite often he'll be looking to see what's happening in the backfield and then something is happening behind him, and all of a sudden he's just lost his man. So all of this stuff. So I've said at the beginning of this that I thought he could start week 1. He has all the chance to start in week 1, but that isn't saying that he needs to tidy up his game and be a studious student, get his head in the books, learn that playbook. And with someone like Aaron Glenn, who loves developing these guys, I think he's got it well within him to be that cornerback 2 opposite Sauce. And welcome to the New York Jets, Isaiah Thomas. Brilliant. I wonder what number he's going to wear as well. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But still, though, like I said, this one is a little bit of a head scratcher. But you know what? It's really, really interesting when we see something different from what the coaching staff sees.
But as we said at the top of this, we were super happy with picks 1, 2, and 3. Isaiah Thomas is number 3, and when you sit back, you look at it, you think, okay, yeah, I get that, and you've got to keep this in the back of your mind as well. I forget who said this as well, and it's just so true. This was a draft to build a team, not draft stars. You draft those stars when you're ready to compete. We're not ready to compete. We're not rebuilding. We're just retooling. We're building that roster again. Look at what's happened to the offensive line. Defensive line's obviously going to be the next thing that comes up. So probably next year we'll be looking at how strong our defensive line is as well. But we've got a few pieces like Quinnen that aren't getting any younger, but we need to sort that out. We cannot let Quinnen go through another season being double teamed and triple teamed, and then having fans that don't seem to have a clue what's going on, saying that he hasn't done anything. Well, it's hard to when you've got 3 people hanging off you. But that takes us on to round 4. And I think universally within Jets fans, this is where there was a lot of fingers going into the tops of people's head and started scratching. We took at 110 a receiver, Arian Smith, wide receiver out of Georgia. God, I'm not quite sure what I make of this one.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this about Arian Smith. I mean, this is a head scratcher right away, and I'll tell you why. Not that why they're taking a wide receiver. Look, we all felt they needed a wide receiver, and most Jet fans were saying we needed to get a new wide receiver because outside of Garrett Wilson, I mean nobody trusts Lazard. Has Malachi Corley been hampered after what happened last year? Hopefully not. But what are we going to do at wide receiver now? Granted, Arian Smith, when you're coming from a school like Georgia, and especially from the SEC, and just like Mason Taylor did from LSU is in the SEC, you get great players, and many people many people have told me if you draft somebody out of the SEC, these are the teams that are usually NFL ready right off the bat, and that's great, and that's wonderful. But the problem Smith has. Not so much that he's not fast. He's very fast. He's quick. He could probably outrun a corner or a safety, and he can make amazing plays
without
just
doubt
with his legs. But
without
a doubt,
his speed was 4:36 on the 40.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. But his problem right now is he's had too many drops, and to many Jet fans, that felt like a red flag. Sound the alarm. Why are we even drafting this kid? Now, look, if the coaching staff can get him to take that out of his game, then many Jet fans will probably say, we forgive you. We understand why you got him. Great job. You did this, you did that, and so on and so on. But the truth is this. He has to work on, while it's great you've got all the speed, but you got to catch the ball at the same time when you're running.
Do you know what I reckon? Johnny Lamb Jones. You remember Johnny Lamb Jones? Yeah. He was.
I remember Johnny Lamb Jones.
Absolute burner, and he never reached that potential. So there's another guy I'm looking at. I mean, he's transitioned from track and field, and he's won honours and things in state titles, and he is super. I mean, you can't get away from his absolute blazing speed, and people are calling it world class speed. So, when you're running that quickly, it is world class speed. And I remember the Chicago Bears, the '85 Bears, they had a player called Willie Galt.
Oh
And
yeah, I remember Willie.
he was an ex-Olympian, and that's all he did. He was just an absolute burner. Very, defenses. It was easy to read. He could only run a few routes and just dig routes and comebacks and go routes. You knew what he was going to run, but you still couldn't defend him because he was so quick. He was absolutely lightning in the bottle. The thing that could be good here is that is part of Justin Fields' game, is being able to throw the deep ball. And if he can throw that deep ball quick, and you've got a quick receiver, he's going to get open in a hurry. The only downside is this isn't now 1985. This is now 2025. And defenses and corners, they're a lot quicker now. They're a lot faster, and they're a goddamn lot smarter than they were back then, with no disrespect. The playbooks now are significantly, and the plays it's night and day. So is this guy going to do it? I mean, you highlight the drops. The drops is a major issue. And when you look at all his attributes, his worst attribute is the thing that should be the best, his hands. So I honestly, this is such a head scratcher. And I'll be honest with you, we've took him in the 4th round. This is the kind of player I would have expected to take in the 7th round, or maybe an undrafted free agent. Not in the 4th, but hey.
Yep.
What do we know? We are just couch potatoes that watch this fantastic sport. So, there's not a lot I can say about this guy, because I just didn't see this coming. When we did take him, I looked to see who was on the board still, and we had our group chat on, and we were like looking at who was on the board still, and I was just looking at my board, and I was just going, I would have taken him over this guy. Honestly, I was just like bottom of the page, and just like I would have taken everybody on my board in that area over this guy. But again, what do we know? So obviously the coaching staff see something in this guy, and hey, if it works out, they saw something and they're brilliant. If it doesn't work out, they took a swing and they missed. It's as simple as that.
Exactly. I mean, look, they could use him for special teams, like Irv Charles they use him for, as a gunner. So, I mean, he could still use his speed to do punt returns, help out with kickoff returns. So, I mean, if he can cause some havoc on special teams and find a way to force the ball to get the ball back, I mean, okay, there is some positivity out of having him on the roster. But, look, if they can get him to be better at catching the ball while basically run and gun down the sideline and then grab it, I mean, look, then they've done their job, and, you can't criticize what Glenn's going to do.
But you had guys like who I think personally is a better player in someone like Horton from Colorado, who Jalen Turner was still on the board at that point. Chimere DK, he was on the board at that time. All three of those are burners. They're all with a similar speed, but I think are better football players. So I don't get how or why this has happened. I don't know whether they've written the wrong name on the card or something's happened. But fortunately for us, this wasn't the only round 4 pick, because we had a trade, and it was from Detroit via Denver and Philadelphia, and we traded up to get a safety. And this was a guy I'd been banging the table for very early on, when we were looking at the rosters and scouting players. He was one of the first guys I scouted, and loved what I saw. I don't follow college football that much, but I started getting into the safeties a little bit more, which is what I'll probably do next year. Malachi Moore, safety out of Alabama. I absolutely love this pick. He's not the biggest. He's 5'11". He's 196. Alabama. What a great college that is. We had a quarterback come out of Alabama once. He specializes in man zone and free safety. 450. He's one of the quicker safeties in the combine. He was a Senior Bowl invite. I just want to put this out there as well. Senior Bowl. If you don't think the Senior Bowl is worthwhile, have a look at what our draft picks, what they did this last year. Nearly all of them went to the Senior Bowl or the Shrine Bowl. So, and you got to remember at the time, apparently we didn't have a scouting start. We did. Phil Savage. So full credit goes to Phil Savage for doing an outstanding job when a lot of people would have just had their feet up on a desk as the whole coaching staff was changing. Not Phil Savage. But I do believe he's still with the team, which I love, but he has a consultancy role. But back to Malachi Moore. He is an outstanding athlete. I've read another scouting report, and it's a really good description. Who is Malachi Moore? Well, he's a Swiss Army knife. He can play all over the secondary, all over the place. So there's a chance that if a team wants to do a few mismatches, you're going to have a problem doing it because this guy can just fill in. So I like what I see in Malachi Moore. He's all over the place. Again, he's got that MO that Aaron Glenn likes of being tenacious and aggressive and a little bit of a nastiness about him. He's got natural ball skills. He can track the ball carrier. He's got a massive footballing brain as well. So when you see these guys with great footballing brains, do you remember Jimmy Leonard? Jimmy Leonard.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
of course I do.
Yeah, so Jimmy Leonard was a safety back in the Rex Ryan era. Rex Ryan, let's face it, he knew his stuff when it came to defense. He bought over Bart Scott and he bought over Jimmy Leonard. And Jimmy Leonard was his on-field general. So I'm not saying that Malachi Moore is going to be Jimmy Leonard, but he's got those traits that Jimmy Leonard has, in my opinion. Very smart player.
Yep, very true. And here's something else. This is from Lance Zierlein of NFL.com. He said, Moore can play all the safety spots, but is more effective in coverage than he is when helping against the run. He has average top end speed, but makes up for it with good awareness and ball location when playing down the field. Moore could be asked to line up as a nickelback or split safety, but solid backup might be as high as his ceiling goes. So, I mean, look.
Disagree with that last bit.
Listen, if Lance Zierlein's giving you his seal of approval, then for gosh darn it, take it. And let's just go ahead and, ride with Malachi Moore. I mean, he's going to do something special with us there.
Yep. So as we're getting on, because we're getting on for time here. So that was Malachi Moore. Again, absolutely loved him. This is where it all starts going a little bit pear-shaped, I think it's fair to say, because then we've got 2 round 5 picks. We'll do these both together. We had Francisco, and I hope I don't slaughter his name here, Mauigoa, Mauigoa. Mauigoa.
I'm going with Mauigoa too. Well, yeah. Mauigoa. Yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah, he's a linebacker coming out of University of Miami, Florida. Don't forget, everybody, just to remind you real quick, there are 2 University of Miami schools in the country. You always have to say which state they're in, because the one that everyone knows about, or is the more popular one, is the one in Miami, Florida, which is University of Miami.
The other one in Ohio, isn't it?
Florida. And that's the Hurricanes. And the other one is in the state of Ohio.
Yeah.
So, So always remember to make sure you separate and you know which University of Miami these schools are. Because if someone's saying, oh, you're going to University of Miami? Great. You'll be having fun in the sun and the palm trees. No. University of Miami in Ohio.
You're on the wrong flight.
You're in the wrong flight. Exactly.
So the other guy is Tyler Barron, Edge, Miami. I have to say I'm going to give a shout out to Glenn Norton because he's scouted these guys. He was very high on Mauigi, that's Francisco. And he's also very high on Tyler Barron. So I don't know too much about these. I'm not going to pretend that I know too much about these. So I'll just give you a little rundown on what I do know. Francis Mauigoa, 6'2", 233, Samoan heritage. He is a multi-role linebacker, which I do like. He's fairly quick. He is 79 percentile of all linebackers. Guess what? He was a Shrine Bowl invite as well. How about that?
Yep.
I think I read this part from Glenn Norton from Jet Nation, where he said he was a hard-nosed player, likes to get his facing. Old school linebacker. That's what we're looking at. Old school
Yep.
linebacker, middle linebacker.
Yep.
So I'm not sure we need another middle linebacker, but it says here multi-role. So
You know what? Look, you don't mind it because I'll tell you why. If Sherwood needs a breather, he can step in.
yeah. Another
So,
comparison. Someone said Chaz Surratt. Another Chaz Surratt. I'll take that. Chaz Surratt is a good linebacker.
yeah,
He
yep.
just can't stay healthy.
I know. Well, that's the one hope is that this kid can stay healthy. But other than that, I mean, I don't mind it. And here's the other thing too. Going to Tyler Barron, obviously edge rusher, and he only played 1 year because he transferred from Tennessee, University of Tennessee, the Volunteers, and so he secured all of his stats with Tennessee before going into the transfer portal to play 1 season at University of Miami. So if Glenn's been, following him for these last 4 to 5 years, and like this is the kid that can really do something, for the Jets, then you know what? I'm not going to go against Glenn. If this is how he feels, then I'll go along with it.
Do you know what? I mean, Glenn has raved about him as well. I'm sure Glenn doesn't realise this though, because one of the player comparisons for poor old Tyler is Michael Clemens. So, but
Well, look. The only difference is this. I only hope his brain works, unlike Clemens does. So
yeah, he's a one-off. He is remarkably explosive. He's 462 in the 40, which is 91% tile of all defensive ends edges. So that is incredibly quick. Here's another thing. He went to the Shrine Bowl. Well, how about that?
right.
So another one that's been to the Shrine Bowl. He's predominantly a pass rusher, but he's also quite good in run defense. Who's he got to beat out in camp? Because at the moment you've got Will McDonald. I know we did use Will McDonald on occasions as a 3-down edge. I don't think he's a 3-down edge yet. I don't want to see him now as a three-down edge. I would still prefer him to have the role that he had a couple of years back, the same role that Bryce Huff had, coming in, spelling, doing what you do best, getting nasty on passing situations. I don't want to see him as a 3-down back. So on the other side, you've got JJ, who's coming back off the Achilles. I don't think that the Achilles is going to be a problem at all. And that's pretty much it. So he stands, he's a 5th round pick. But I think he stands a decent chance of becoming a starter. He apparently is the son of former NFL player Patrick Lenoir. So whoever Patrick Lenoir is, so I'm just reading this off. So I don't know who Patrick Lenoir is, but he was a 4-star recruit. But it sounds very, very good. To say, I'm not going to pretend I know who this guy is.
We're talking about Tyler Barron?
Yeah.
Hang on. I don't know if that's correct who his father is. I had something different. Let's see here. Barron Group. His father is Patrick. Well, Tyler Barron's father is Patrick Abernathy, who played at Tennessee State, where he was a teammate with NFL Hall of Famer, defensive end, former Chicago Bear Richard Dent.
Ah, right. So maybe he doesn't know who his daddy is.
That's right. But we know who his daddy is.
Who's his daddy? For everything.
Their daddy.
If you, anyone that's interested in checking this out, if you just go and Google him and try and find some draft bios on him, they're all quite good actually. The strengths far outweigh the weaknesses. As I say, we're sat here. He was a surprise for us, so we're getting to learn who especially these last 2 players are that we've drafted, just as well as everybody else. Let's just run through quickly. We have picked up an absolute ton of undrafted free agents that have not sat back on their hands. So I'll just go through. I'll just go through these, Daniel. I'll just run them out. We have a wide receiver, Quentin Skinner from Kansas. He got signed. Donovan Edwards apparently is pretty good. He's a running back out of Michigan. Don't know too much about him, but he now enters a very crowded running back room. We've got Dean Clark, who I think is a pretty good safety. He's out of Fresno State. Another 6 foot, 208 pounds. So he's got a good size. God, here we go. Not slaughter this name as well. Fatoma Mulbar, a defensive tackle out of the West Virginia. This is going to be nice. Ryan was talking about this guy. He liked him a lot. I thought he was banging the table for him. Apparently he wasn't banging the table with him, but I do know, again, props to Glenn Norton, again from Jet Nation. He has been banging the table for Brady Cook for a long time.
I saw his highlight tape. I'm like, oh my God, where'd they find this kid?
Yeah, from Missouri. So he's a teammate of Membu's as well. So that's a familiar face for Membu as well. So who knows? He's 6'2", and why not? Why not? We've got Brady Cook in the house, undrafted free agent. There's a lot of people that thought he would have gone in the back end of the draft. He wasn't. So I call this one a free hit because Brady Cook. I
agree.
He
Absolutely.
Could. Well, this guy could be your future starter right now on this team.
I mean, look. If they find a diamond in the rough, if Justin Fields does not work out for the 2 seasons he'll be here, and if Jordan Travis doesn't work out, and if somehow Brady Cook finds a way to stay on and, becomes part of the team and maybe the future of the team, I mean, I'm ready, man.
Mm-hmm. We got another guy. We got another guy, Jamarcus Weston, edge, more of a special team out of Florida. He might just be a camp body, but he's in the house anyway. But he's a 6-footer, 235 pounds, so a little bit light. He's a Florida native. He spent 6 years with the Gators. So I'm sure that Ryan knows all about him. He'll be able to tell us more about him. This guy I really like. And I think that he's, again, we go back to that 4th round pick with Smith. Jamal Pritchett, wide receiver out of South Alabama. I would have taken him over Smith as well.
No, that's true. Yeah.
He's only 5'8". He's incredibly light, 175 pounds. But as you would expect, someone of that size and that weight is going to be very, very speedy. He's a bit undersized, but he pretty much lines up as a slot receiver. But he's also got experience at punt returning. So please be better than Gibson. And we can see the back of Gibson because I'm done with Gibson. We've got another linebacker in the house from South Carolina State, Aaron Smith. He led the MEAC with 92 tackles, 11 for loss. Again, he's probably going to be more of a special teamer. But, have we got enough linebackers? We've got 2 good linebackers, and then after that, there's a little bit of a falling off.
More linebackers, just like we need more cowbell.
Yeah, exactly. We need more cowbell. Again, he's a little bit on the light side. He's 6 foot, 234 pounds. But hey, guess what? Let's go and get another one. We did. Yep. Jared Bartlett, linebacker edge out of Cincinnati. Again, they're all about the same. There seems to be an MO with Muji and Glenn here. He's 6 foot again, 238 pounds. What do I know about him? He is a fellow undrafted free agent signing, Miami native. Big 12 mentions, off the ball linebacker and edge rusher. So now this guy, what a name. Who's going to Gus Hartwig, center out of Purdue. Mm-hmm. Now this one's intriguing because I saw a lot of mocks that had him going in round 5, round 6. So I don't think this is too bad a pickup, and I think he will stick. He's 6'5", 309 pounds, so he's a little bit tall, I think, for a centre. Ideally, you want centres at about 6'2", 6'1", but 6'5". I'm not sure what size Mangold was, but I know. Do you remember Marway was? He was about 6'1", 6'2", wasn't he? Marway? He was a shorter centre.
Yeah. Mawai, yeah.
Yeah, so his experience, he's got 50 career starts with the Boilermakers, so I think he could even leapfrog Myers as the backup to Titman, which would be fantastic. I don't know if he plays anywhere else across the line, but 23-year-old, he'll earn a spot on that 53, or he'll be on the practice squad. And if he does go on the practice squad, please look after him. Don't want to lose him.
Now, let me say this, Gus, and we're going to talk about our next player who was undrafted free agent. We've had, international players on this Jets team in the past. We've had, obviously 2 Australians as punters, but we've never had an international player or someone born outside of the United States or Canada that has put on, a uniform and be a main cog in either the offense or the defense.
Hmm.
Have you seen the tape of Mr. Leander Wiegand, offensive tackle from University of Central Florida, but he is from Germany?
Yeah,
Have you seen him? Have you seen his weightlifting tape?
I haven't. I also want to do a shout out to Nicole Lester, who you all know is obsessed with food and the Jets and does the tailgates. She's of German heritage and she's over the moon about this guy. I haven't.
Isn't she?
Yeah, she is. She's over the moon. Rightly
Yep,
so.
yep.
He's a big dude.
Oh, he really is. And apparently, I guess he beat the team record in the weightlifting push-up, not the push-ups, but weightlifting record. Like, you're lying down on the bed there, and you'd have the barbells over your head, and you're lifting the barbells above you.
He
He beat the record with 38 reps.
He's also got a record that I can't see ever being beaten. He in 2021 he became the world champion in eating bratwurst in his own body weight, 18 pounds of bratwurst, and that's a record that's going to stand forever and ever. He's
Yep.
he's 6'5",
Yep.
318 pounds.
Exactly. It was the bench press. 38 reps on the bench press. 5 more than any other player at the NFL Combine.
So just to reiterate, he's an international program player.
Gus, one more thing. My era, I thought, well, no, it's University of Central Florida. I thought he went to, okay. And then maybe I made the error because the guy that was behind him lifting up, spotting him had a University of South Florida shirt on, the Bulls. So
Hmm.
maybe I could be wrong. Maybe he did attend the University of Central Florida
It says
and just the guy was just ripped.
on my bio, and it does say UCF, so I think it was Central
Okay,
Florida.
okay,
So
all right.
unless
So,
someone spelt
but
Central wrong.
I mean, unbelievable. And he also played in the European League of Football in Germany.
He did, yeah. So he's got plenty of experience. And again, you get these guys. I think when it comes to the skill positions, like running back, receiver, I think it's incredibly difficult for these IPP players to break through. We had that Reece Zammit who went to Kansas City. I'm not sure where he is now, but he was a star in, I think is he Welsh? I think he is, but he was a star. He's a star in his own sport, but he can't break
Yep.
through. So, because
Right.
it is so difficult, but we do get these IPP players making it as linemen, defensive tackles, even edges. So there's a good chance that Wiegland, he could stick, but he'll go onto the practice squad and he will be protected on the practice squad. So that's pretty good. I like that. We got a local guy, a wide receiver out of Rutgers, Daimir Miller. Don't know anything about him. Blah, blah, blah. Pennsylvania native, spent 4 years at Monmouth, setting single season school records for catches, 90, and receiving yards, 1,293 in 2023. A little bit undersized again. This is another thing which is slightly bothering me because we all want those big bodied wide receivers that can go up and make those contested catches. This is not your guy. He's 5'11", 181 pounds. But again, he's a burner. He's was a hundredth of a second slower than Arian Smith. So there you go. You've got Arian Smith round 4, and you've got an undrafted free agent and it doesn't say anything about dropping the ball. It says he catches a lot of balls. So there you go. He's run a 4:37, and Arian Smith round 4 run 4:36. So again, it kind of backs up what we're saying is if speed was the only reason that you've got this guy, then it was a poor reason to be doing it, because there are players in this draft and undrafted free agent that you could have taken that are just as quick, and they've got hands. So we've got a new kicker on as well. Ole Miss, Caden Davis. Did you see that one?
Yep. Listen, we need a new kicker. I mean, come on. We've had issues with kickers, especially with Zerline having faulty brain, and now he was injured for the rest of the year.
Yep.
I don't know how much longer he'll remain on the Jets. I mean, look, if it's Caden Davis, or if it's Anders Carlson, then you know what? If these two can cement their the starting, not that I shouldn't say this, the starting, but at least the kicker position to get those 3 points and extra point, then you know what? Hell,
Yep.
anything's better right now than Zerline.
Well, I think they should go for a kicking camp and just get about 10 or 11 of them in. I mean, really, is it that difficult to sign a kicker? I mean, God,
No.
the whole world kicks a different shaped ball, but they still kick it. There must be people that can kick field goals. But he was a Texas A&M transfer where he made over 80% of his field goal over attempts at Ole Miss. Last year he connected on 24 of 29. My maths tells me he only missed 5, including a 57-yarder, which he made, which is that's pretty good. I'll take that. Oh, here we go. The Jets now have 3 kickers on the roster. So we've got Davis. Zerline is still there. Really, they should just. I know he's a legend and he's been in the league for years, but maybe he's going to be a post June 1st cut or something. I don't know. And Anders, as you said, Anders Carlson. But yeah, it says here, but don't be surprised if Zerline is June 1st cap space hit. But that's pretty much where we're at for the moment. And I think we've got a lot of players in. There'll be more coming in because I don't think we're even close to the 90. Is it 90 that we can get, or is it more than that now?
I think that's as far as it goes.
Yeah. So there's plenty to look forward to.
Let's also not forget, my friend, because this has never been done at an NFL draft. During the first round of the NFL draft, they announced when the schedule comes out for the 2025 season, and that will be on Wednesday night, May 14th.
Put that in your diaries, folks.
Yep. I mean, usually you guess when it's coming out. You wait for the official announcement made online, whether it be through NFL's website, by ESPN, by Fox Sports, NBC Sports, CBS Sports, and so on and so on. But for the NFL, for the first time during the draft, to announce to all of us when the schedule announcement will be made, which will be on May 14th, that is something special.
And do you know what else, Daniel? Do you know what else?
Yeah.
Obviously, the schedule's coming out, but it will also mean we will know who the Jets are potentially playing in London as well.
That's right.
So
that is correct, and I can't wait for that. So, Guts, out of curiosity, what is your overall grade for this Jet draft? And then I'll give you mine, and then I'll give you what NFL.com says.
Right. The top half of it's the top half which is going to carry this. Again, I have to not get too emotional about this for what they were trying to do. It is a team building draft. It isn't a draft where you're going out and getting the stars. If you can come out, for example, say you've got 7 picks. Out of those 7 picks, if you come out with 2 starters, you've done really, really well. If you come out with 3 starters, you've come out incredibly well. If you can come out with 3 starters and a couple of backups, you've done amazing. And that's where I think that's where we are now. I think we have got 3 starters, Membu, Taylor, Thomas. I do think Thomas will end up starting. And I think we've got some decent backups. I'm not sure what the crack is with the wide receiver Smith, but Malachi Moore, I have a feeling that he could end up starting. He needs to polish up his game a little bit more. And then you've got Francisco, the linebacker. I'm not going to say his name. And then you've got Tyler Barron. Tyler Barron could end up being a backup, at least a backup. I think it's a good. I think it's a good draft overall. When we were going through the back end of the draft, from Isaiah Thomas made me scratch my head, and then I did some backup on it, and then realised why they took him. And then we took Smith, and then I started scratching my head again, and then we took Moore, and I thought, okay. And then we've got Francisco and Tyler Barron as well, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I can see that as well, especially the Barron pick. We are absolutely desperate for edge. The only downside to this draft is we didn't draft a DT, and this draft was deep in DTs. I'm still waiting to see what's going to happen there, whether we pick someone up on waivers or we pick up an undrafted free agent. I'm not sure. We obviously got Nardi from the Chiefs, who has a chance to start, but Chiefs letting good players go. They don't.
Yep.
So overall, getting waffly about this. Overall, I'm going to give this draft B minus. It's only
Okay.
and the reason why I would say I'm sliding slightly more towards B minus because we didn't get a defensive tackle. We didn't particularly need a cornerback when we did, and the players that they passed on to take Thomas, that was I don't think that was good, but they obviously see something in Thomas that I don't know. And again, not getting emotional about it because they are building a team. So based on that, that's why I gave it a B minus.
You're getting emotional about it. No, I'm kidding. You know, I went a little harsher. And I'm in that B range, but like I agree with you. Great first three rounds, great picks. Questionable picks from 4 through 5, or the 2 4s and 2 5s that they got. I went with a B minus to a C plus, and that's only because of the back end of the draft. Now, look, things could change. We'll wait and see. But for now, for myself, it's a B minus to a C plus. Now, NFL.com, they have their experts. They know more than we do. I'm not saying you stink, but I know I do. But apparently they gave the Jets a very good grade. They gave the Jets, NFL.com, a B plus.
Oh, hello.
Day one grade, a B plus. Day 2 grade, an A. Day 3, a B. So that's why the B plus stands.
Wow.
And so, look, this is from NFL.com. Whoever did the grading, and I'm going to give you the analysis as well. And this is what they wrote. The Jets passed over the draft's top tight ends to pick a promising but raw lineman in Membo. Taylor met that need for an athletic receiving threat in round 2, though, and Thomas could be a steal if overcoming his average long speed with physical downfield coverage. Smith's potential as a speed threat can come to fruition if he's able to concentrate on the ball through the catch. They upgraded the defense with the experienced Moore and active Mauagoa,
Well
and
done.
then switched future day 3 picks to grab a bargain edge in Barron. The Jets chose not to select a quarterback to compete with Justin Fields, and which is correct.
Because we picked up Brandon Cooks.
But that's undrafted free agent, so
Yeah.
he may be practice squad to start off. But here's the thing. And once again, we need to see where, Jordan, we need to see where Jordan Travis is in his, how if he's progressed enough where he is playing. We don't know what his health status is currently. Has his rehab finally got him back to where he should be? So, that's a big question mark. And they have Tyrod Taylor as the backup anyway. So you know the Jets are not going after quarterback, and nor should they go after quarterback at all in this draft. That's what I said. No quarterbacks in this draft. Undrafted free agency, that's a different kettle of fish. But in the draft, you don't waste any of those picks for a quarterback at all. And I even have to say this. Some of the Jet fans that I've seen here on social media were like, ooh, maybe they should draft Shedeur Sanders at the 4th round pick. No. I'm glad he went to the Browns. Let him go there. We did not need Shedeur Sanders at all. It made no sense to draft a quarterback in this draft, period. Undrafted, that's a different story.
I think there's two reasons as well for that. I'm sorry to cut you off. I think there's two reasons that you didn't draft a quarterback as well. First off, you've got to give Justin Fields a chance. Secondly, if you went and took a quarterback from, say, round 2, 3, 4, or even 5, no, rounds 2 or 3 or 4, it kind of undermines what you're trying to hope that Justin Fields is doing. So you could say whatever you like to Justin Fields, but at the end of the day, you've just drafted a quarterback. You've already got a backup in Tyrod Taylor. So, he signed a 2-year deal. So why are you taking a quarterback that high? Because you don't have trust in him. And it's little things like that, which, I mean, these guys are alphas. Let's not forget that. And, they're not crybabies. But at the end of the day, you want to try and give Justin Fields, who's on his third team now, every chance to succeed. And just having a little young guy in the background who you're also meant to be mentoring as well, because that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
That's an unnecessary distraction. And I don't think that needed to happen. If he has a mediocre year next year and he looks like he's hit his ceiling, fine, we'll be drafting a quarterback next year. But you've got to give him at least a year, a season, to say, show us what you got. And I like the way that they've gone about business here. As for Travis Jordan, I do think he gets traded to Burger King for a Whopper and fries.
Oh, come on.
But
anyway,
Daniel.
Yeah, that was from NFL.com's draft analyst Chad Reuter, who did all the grades for all the NFL teams in this draft.
I will say this about Chad Reuter. When we picked Armand Membu, he gave a grade. Have a guess what grade Chad Reuter gave the Armand Membu pick. Go on.
B+.
He did. He actually gave a B+. How is it not an A? How is it not an A+? The Jets' biggest need was right tackle. We took the top right tackle. How is it not an A? How can it be B+? Because there were no other right tackles.
Maybe he has some reservations. I don't know. But, look, this is him, and I'm not going to complain too much about it. As long as and I know, and all the lads here at the New York Jet Atlantic Flight podcast knows, that was the number one guy the Jets had to draft in the first round.
Absolutely.
And they did not waver. As long as we got our guy, that's all that matters. The rest is just noise.
The board felt deliciously right. And all the planets aligned, and we got our guy. And then we got a second good guy. So all in all, I'm relatively happy. A couple of head scratchers, but we'll leave the coaching staff to figure that one out and worry about that later. Can't worry about things that you can't control. So, Daniel, we've covered a lot here, my friend. We've covered all the draft picks, the undrafted free agents, and probably when we finish this, there'll be about 3 or 4 that have been also recruited as well. So it's a fun time. Brand new regime, brand new players, what's not to love? And as you say, May the 14th, may the 4th be with you.
No. May the 14th be with you. We're already past that. Come on.
So let's wrap this up, my friend. We will be going into more depth with these draft picks and some of these undrafted free agents as time goes on, because we're going to have time to kill between now and OTC and training camp. So we will be going into these picks in a little bit more depth and getting in the weeds. Daniel.
Y'all know what to say. On 3. 1, 2, 3.